chesed yibaneh. Adonai, Adonai, Adonai. Olam 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 chesed yibaneh. Adonai,
Shabbat Shalom. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, let us build this world in kindness and righteousness and love. And this evening, as we come together, I know at least we on the Bima have had conversations about this Shabbat and how much it is needed. And a conversation about tonight is about us perhaps building an ark of safety, making this sanctuary the space where we can shut out the noise of the past week, of the past month, and raise our voices together in prayer, raise our voices together in song. So we take a deep breath in, and we exhale the week that was. And we take in a deep breath, and we welcome in Shabbat with that big, deep breath. And our sages teach us that when we welcome in Shabbat, when Shabbat comes, that we are given an extra soul, a soul that carries us through the next 24, next 25 hours. And I feel like this week is one of those times where we need that soul to wrap itself around us like a great big comforting hug. And so we welcome in Shabbat. We welcome it in this space together. And we shut out the rest of the world and welcome in the quiet of our voices and our prayers tonight. And so we also celebrate this Shabbat, the bat mitzvah of a young woman in our congregation, Peyton Solomon, and it is an honor to invite to the Bima her family, Gary Solomon, Paige Solomon. We'll even invite her brother, Zachary Solomon, to join us on the Bima as we welcome in Shabbat with our candles and kiddush, page 121.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
We say together,
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, who sanctifies us with the mitzvah and commands us to kindle the lights of the Shabbat.
Amen. And if all of you can stand in this place, raising ourselves to a higher plane of holiness as we welcome the Shabbat with the prayer found on page 123 in your prayer books, which is the Kiddushat Hayom, the sanctification of the day. The introduction to this blessing is found on the previous page at the top of page 122. Gary?
And there was evening and there was morning the sixth day. The heaven and the earth were finished and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
We sing together now the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodesho, be'ahavav ratzon, hinechilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techiro, למגרועי קודש, זכר לציון מצרים, קיוונו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. And we say together, Shabbat Shalom, L'chaim. Please be seated.
And we turn in our prayer books to page 138 and 139 as we continue welcoming in Shabbat with Lecha Dodi. And as is our custom here at United Hebrew, we'll sing the first two verses and then we'll jump to verse 9. And just beforehand, we will rise and we will face toward the back as we welcome in Shabbat.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shemor zachor b'dibur echad, tishmi'anu Elam Yuchad, Adonai Echad, Yushemo Echad, Shenu Tiferet Veritila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, imekot averacha, merosh mikedem tektucha, zot ma'aseh b'machshavat tila. Please stand. Lecha Dodi, face the back. B'nei Shabbat nikabela. kabela. Lechado dirikla kala. B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala. Gam b'simcha uv'tzola. Toch emunei yitzucha. Boi chala, boi chala. Oh, face the ark. Lechado dili kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechado dili kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechado dili kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechado dili kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabela.
We remain standing and continue on page 146 with the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed.
And we turn to page 148 as we join together in Ma'ariv Aravim, and we think of creation and the beauty that abounds in our world all around us as we join together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. And on page 150, we read together at the middle of the page. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And together on page 152.
And just for a moment, just listen to yourself. Just quiet yourself. At some schools, they say, waterfall, waterfall, and what do? Shh. So think of that waterfall. Think of everything happening in this week, falling off of you and away from you. And hear that waterfall resonating in your head. Shh. And then hear that sound as it hits toward the bottom of the rocks. And that sound of the rushing water. Shim. And then as the water comes up and bubbles up to the surface, flowing away from you. Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malechuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated.
And we'll continue with Be'ahavta on page 154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך וברכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לעוד על ידיך, וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובשעריך, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Page 157. We read together at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands, marching together. Page 158.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נטע בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נטע בקודש. נורא תהילו, עושה פלא, נורא תהילו, עושה פלא, אדוני לעולם ועד. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, זה עדי ענו אמרו, זה עדי ענו ואמרו, אדוני למלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נטע בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נורא תהילו, עושה פלא, נורא תהילו, עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
We turn in our prayer books to page 160. And each Friday morning, we as the clergy have the beautiful opportunity to be with our preschoolers. And one of the things that we have started doing this year as we welcome in Shabbat is to take a moment and to have we go around this very large circle of preschoolers. You can just imagine it takes a little bit of time. And we talk about what we are thankful for in the week. We get a lot of interesting things, but today especially, we got a lot of gratitude for loveys, for blankets, for squashmallows, for those things that they can hold and feel comforted by as they go throughout their day, but especially at night. And as we come to the words of Hashkivenu, this evening prayer for peace, I think about them and their loveys and their blankets, because when we come to these words, we are asking God essentially to be that lovey for us, to spread God's self over us, to keep us safe and feel that shelter and that comfort as we go to sleep tonight. And especially as we welcome in this Shabbat with Parshat Noach, I'm imagining a beautiful rainbow blanket that God is spreading over us to wrap God's self around us and bring us comfort as we join together in words of Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'hamidenu Shomerenu the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Hamidenu Shomerenu Lechai. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'hamidenu Shomerenu
We turn in our prayer books to page 164 as we prepare for the Amidah. And I remind you, as we come to the Givurot on page 168, we have switched to winter now, to our prayer for rain, although we won't say it too strongly on the Shabbat of Parshat Noach because we don't want any flooding, but we do pray for rain, especially in Israel. And so we rise now as we turn to the Amidah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagide yiratecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor ve'Hanora אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Page 168. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא הורים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. Page 170. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. And we turn to page 173. And at the top of page 173, we read together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha bayira na'avod. And we turn to page 177. And as we turn to our prayer for gratitude, we take a moment and we think about one thing during our week for which we are thankful. Could be something we've seen, it could be a smile that someone gave us, but one small thing. And we hold on to that moment of gratitude as we join together at the top of the page. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. And we turn to page 179, and we'll join together in a prayer for peace. There are never, ever too many prayers for peace that we can offer together. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, bashalom. And we step outside of our prayer book as we turn to a prayer for our country as well as a prayer for the state of Israel. And this prayer for our country was penned or recreated last spring after a clergy meeting, and Cantor Eicher took pen to paper to alter just a little bit the words in our prayer book. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of our children and alert to the care of the earth and all its living things. May we never be lazy in the work of peace, and may we honor those who have died by coming together in their names to envision a better world. Grant our leaders untethered wisdom and a unified forbearance. May they govern with blind justice and compassion for all. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you and all living things. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen. And we turn to a prayer for the state of Israel, this one written by our own Eva Ashner. And this Shabbat, we turn our prayers especially and think of Israel as next week Israelis go to the polls for yet another election, one in which we hope will be a peaceful election and will bring about a government, a coalition, perhaps much like the last one, but may it last a little bit longer. Thank you, Adonai, for granting Israel the courage, the strength, and the power to defend her borders and her people. May Israel continue to flourish. May Israel never give up tikva, the hope that the day will come when Israel will be at peace with her neighbors. And may Israel always exist as the homeland for the Jewish people. Amen. And we turn in our prayer books now to page 371. As we turn our hearts and we turn our prayers especially to prayers for healing. And this Shabbat, I think all of us, just a little bit, are in need of healing from the chaos of the outside world. We think especially tonight of the teachers and the students at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School. And we think certainly of all the teachers and the students and parents in our area, in the greater St. Louis region, but certainly around our country, who yet again fear going to school. And so too, with the anti-Semitism that has been in the news of the past few weeks, and this week especially, we also think of those prayers for healing, especially, unfortunately, for many young Jews who now are struggling and questioning their own safety as to whether they can outwardly share themselves as Jews. And we turn to those that we know in our hearts, our friends, our loved ones, who may be in need of a physical or an emotional healing. And tonight, if you are thinking of someone who is in need, in just a moment we'll rise together. We will call those names aloud together and send those names into the heavens toward God to reach our prayers for healing. And so I ask you to please rise at this moment if you are thinking of someone, and we call those names aloud. And we'll join together now with those names in our hearts, asking God to swiftly send all of them and us a renewal of body and spirit.
May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. We share our those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
and personal prayer. You may be seated.
Hiu l'ratzon imrefi negion libi lefanecha Adonai Zuri Adonai Zuri Adonai, Zuri, Adonai, Zuri, Vegoali,
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. My name is Cheryl Bauer, and I'm president of United Hebrew Congregation. Tomorrow at UH, we'll have Torah study that will begin at 9 a.m. in the chapel and also via Zoom. We also have the bat mitzvah tomorrow of Peyton Solomon, and that will be at 10:30 in the sanctuary and via live stream. Mazel tov, Peyton, to you and your family. We also have tomorrow from 4 to 5 at UH in the parking lot. We will bless our pets and with a Havdalah, so please bring your pets to be blessed and enjoy us for a service and Havdalah. Then, other upcoming events on next Friday, November 4th, we'll have Shabbat Alive with our artist in residence, Rick Reck. And at that service, we'll also welcome our new members, so I really encourage you to come. Then next Saturday, November 5th, is our Limud Shabbat, and we'll have a Learner's Shabbat service at 10:30. Then Lunch and Learn, Kolat Yisrael, Voices of United Hebrew at noon, with a discussion about ritual garb such as kippot, taliot, tefillin, and this conversation will be with our clergy. So please, I encourage you to come to that. You bring your lunch and we'll provide the dessert and drinks. Then on Wednesday, November 9th, is a Red Cross blood drive here at UH from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then also on November 9th will be Whiskey and Wisdom from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Please join Rabbi Rosenberg for our congregational trip to Israel, and that will be April 30th through May 10th of next year. And there's flyers around the building as well as additional information on the website. And as we talk about Israel, I encourage you to support the Israeli farmers and United Hebrew with your purchase of olive oil. There's not too much time left for that, and the olive oil will be here in time for Hanukkah later in December. And there's more information about that and ways to purchase on our UH website. Thank you to Cantor Eicher, who will be available this Sunday to notarize mail-in ballots from 12:30 to 2 in the Kaplansky Center. And you'll need to enter the Kaplansky Center from the circle driveway back this way using those doors, not the sanctuary doors. And again, that's from 12:30 to 2 this Sunday if you're voting absentee and you need your ballot notarized. For more information about upcoming classes and programs, I encourage you to visit our UH website. There's all kinds of information out there. As always, thank you to our tech team. We greatly appreciate what you all do for us and making it our service available via live stream to so many visitors. Thank you. And last but not least, the gift shop is open on Mondays and Fridays from noon until 3, and Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 9:30 till 3, as well as Sundays from 9 until 1 when there's religious school in session, or you can make an appointment. Thank you all. Shabbat Shalom.
So much going on here at United Hebrew, and I hope to see you all at our pet blessings tomorrow, because if you haven't noticed yet, this week our Torah portion is Parshat Noach. It's the story of the flood and the ark and all of the animals that God commands Noah to bring onto the ark. And so this week, as we work on this Shabbat of Shalom, the Shabbat of peace, we also remember that another goal of Shabbat is Oneg Shabbat, a joy of Shabbat. And so this week, I'm excited to share with you a story that is a little bit silly, has a little bit of fun into it, and it talks about all of those animals that some of which we might bless tomorrow. And so this story is called Why Noah Chose the Dove. When the people sinned and God decided to punish them by sending the flood, all the animals gathered around Noah's ark. For Noah was a righteous man, and God had told him how to save himself and his family by building an ark that would float and shelter them as the waters rose and rose and rose. The animals had heard the rumor that Noah was to take with him on the ark only the best of all the living creatures. So the animals came and vied with one another, each boasting about its own virtues, and whenever possible, belittling the merits of others. The lion roared, I am the strongest of all beasts. Surely I must be saved. The elephant blared, I'm the largest. I have the longest trunk, the biggest ears, and the heaviest feet. To be big and heavy is not so important, yapped the fox. I am the cleverest of all creatures. What about me, brayed the donkey? I thought I was the cleverest. It seems that anyone can be clever, yipped the skunk. I smell the best of all animals. My perfume is famous. Well, all of you scramble around on the earth. I'm the only one who can climb trees, said the monkey. The only one, growled the bear. What do you think I do? And how about me, chattered the squirrel. I belong to the tiger family, purred the cat. I'm the cousin of the elephant, squeaked the mouse. I'm just as strong as a lion, snarled the tiger, and I have the most beautiful fur. Oh, my spots are more admired than your stripes, the leopard spat back. I'm man's closest friend, yapped the dog. You're no friend, you're just a fawning flatterer, bayed the wolf. I am proud, a lone wolf, I flatter no one. Bob, blatted the sheep, that's why you're always hungry. Give nothing, get nothing. I give man my wool, and he takes care of me. You may give man wool, but I give him sweet honey, droned the bee. Besides, I have venom to protect myself from my enemies. What is your venom compared with mine? Rattled the snake. And I am closer to Mother Earth than any of you. Not as close as I am, protested the earthworm, sticking its head out of the ground. Well, I lay eggs, clucked the hen. I give milk, mooed the cow. I help man plow the earth, bellowed the ox. Compared with me, you're all midgets. The giraffe's words came from a distance as he nibbled a leaf off the top of a tree. Well, I'm almost as tall as you are, chortled the camel, and I can travel in the desert for days without food. Well, you two may be tall, but I carry the most weight, snorted the hippopotamus. And I'm pretty sure that my mouth is bigger than anybody's. Don't be so sure, snapped the crocodile as it yawned. Well, I can speak like a human, squawked the parrot. You don't really speak, you just imitate, crowed the rooster. I see with my ears, piped the bat. I sing with my wing, chirped the cricket. And there were so many more animals waiting to praise themselves. But Noah had noticed that the dove was perched alone on a branch, not trying to speak, not trying to compete with all the other animals. So Noah walked over to the dove and said, "Why are you silent? Don't you have anything to boast about?" "Well, I don't think of myself as better or wiser or more attractive or more of anything than any of the other animals. Each one of us has something the other does not have, something given to us by God, who created us all." And Noah thought deeply and said, "The dove is right. There is no need to boast and compete with one another, because God has ordered me to take creatures of all kinds into the ark, to take cattle and beasts, bird and insect." And at this, the animals were overjoyed. There was a raucous of all of their sounds. And soon their grudges were forgotten. Noah, before he opened the ark, he said, "I do love you all." But because the dove, sitting alone, remained modest and silent, while the rest of you begged and argued and strove against one another, I will choose it, the dove, to be my messenger. Noah kept his word. When the rain stopped, he sent the dove to fly over the world and bring back news of how things were. And at last she returned with an olive leaf in her beak. And Noah knew that the waters had receded. When the land finally became dry, Noah and his family and all the animals left the ark, and God promised never again to destroy the world. And we have a fun little song to remind us a little bit more of that story, and perhaps one animal that might not have made it.
I think some of you have the words that you may have picked out in the hallway, and you probably recognize this, especially those of you who are like our age, my age, yeah. Probably remember the Irish Rovers who sang this. So, you probably know the chorus, so you can sing along with me, but you got all the words. Let's have some fun with it. It's a story about one animal that just didn't make it. A long time ago when the earth was green and there was more kinds of animals you ever seen, they'd run around free while the earth was born, but the loveliest of all was the unicorn. You'd see green alligators and long-necked beasts, some humpty-backed camels and some chimpanzees, some cats and rats and elephants, sure as you're born, but the loveliest of all was the unicorn. Now God seen some sinning and it gave him pain. He says, "Stand back, I'm gonna make it rain." They said, "Hey brother Noah, I'll tell you what to do. Build me a floating zoo and take some alligators and long-necked geese, some humpty-backed camels and some chimpanzees, some cats and rats and elephants, sure as you're born, don't forget my unicorn." Old Noah was there to answer the call. He finished up making the ark just as the rain started falling. He marched in the animals 2 by 2, and he called out as they went through, "Hey Lord, I got your green alligators and long-necked geese, some humpty-backed camels and some chimpanzees, some cats and rats and elephants, sure as you're born. But where are those silly unicorns? Can't see them." Oh my God. Then Noah looked out through the driving rain. Them unicorns were hiding, playing silly games, kicking and splashing while the rain was pouring. Oh, them silly unicorns. You see green alligators and long-necked geese, some humpty-backed camels and some chimpanzees, some cats and rats and elephants as you're born. We just can't wait to see no unicorn. The ark started moving, it drifted with the tide. The unicorns looked up from the rock and they cried, and the waters came down and floated them away. And that's why you'll never see any unicorns to this very day. But you'll see green alligators and long-necked geese, some humpty-backed camels and some chimpanzees, some cats and rats and elephants, but sure as you're born, you're never gonna see no unicorn.
And so while you might not see any unicorns, you certainly will see doves. Because the truth is that there are in this world more doves than there are tigers, leopards, wolves, vultures, and all those ferocious beasts. Because the dove lives happily without fighting. That's why it's the bird of peace.
So when the world seems dark, look up to the sky. Remember the rainbow and the dove who it ride. 'Cause even though there are people who don't know what they should, there's lots of doves and even more love, and most people are good. Oh yeah. So you'll see green alligators and long-necked geese, some humpty-back camels and some chimpanzees, some cats and rats and elephants, and sure as you're born, our world's still good. They're good without these unicorns.
So, as we hear this story, it's not only fun, a little bit silly, but it has a beautiful message. And as we move towards the end of our service, we run into and we pause, and in a moment we'll say the Aleinu. The Aleinu is a prayer that reminds us that what we create in here, what we do in here, what we learn in here, the shared values that we have shouldn't end in here. They're not contained by these walls. But we should take it with us out into the world. We should remember that all of us, each of us, can be doves, and we can make the world a little more peaceful. And so I invite you to turn to page 586 and rise for the Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 591. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Page 594. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be and to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. In moments of pain and sorrow, we remember those in our community, those who have left this world. And in those moments of community, and those moments needed most, our community expands. And so, in light of the tragedy this past week, we add the names of those who were killed at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School: Alexandria Bell and Jean Kuzka. Closer to home in our own community, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of those who have died in just this past week, as we remember in this period of Shiva, Martin Robert Ellens and Barry Eichen. We are also in the first month of mourning, the period of Shloshim, for Carol Faintich, Sylvia Gordon, Melvin Halpern, Ron Heller, Gary Madden, Barbara Ruth Newmark, Lillian Simpson, Karen Suzanne Sue Tenenbaum. And we add to these names those who have died at this time in seasons past, as we remember the yahrzeit of Rose Mary Backler, Max Barnholz, Stanley Edward Beck, Dr. Arnold S. Block, Minnie Jaffe Blumenau, Louis M. Blumenthal, Maurice S. Brash, Reuben L. Brilliant, Jesse Bronstein, Nancy Ellen Brown, Rose Cherry, Jack Claris, Isidore Cohen, Kate Cohn, Abraham Kornfeld, Lillian DeWaskin, Samuel Ellis, Bernice Essman, Joe Fagan, Sylvia Fagan, Marcus A. Feldman, Gordon Fixman, Ida Fixman, Jack M. Gentle, Dewey G. Getzlow, Sonia Gilberth, Carlin E. Gitlin, Gail E. Goldberg, Janet Goldblum, Gloria Ellens Goldstein, Iamold Green, Mamie E. Grossman, Alfred Hirsch, Beatrice Hochberg, Ruth K. Himes, Bertha Jacobs, Reva Jaffe, Brett Reagan Jasper, Rose Kaiser, Stanley Katz, Jack Kinberg, Leonard Bernard Corman, Saul Kransberg, Marilyn Feldman Kreisman, Max Landau, Rose Levin, Frida Circus Lewis, Harry Lipschitz, Dr. Stanley F. Mayer, Mitchell Melnick, Wilma Jean Messing, Elaine Newman Morans, Abraham Moulton, Louis Muchnick, Isaac H. Niss, Sylvia Eichen Pearl, Norman A. Peskin, Henry M. Pozlowski, Bertie Patashnik, Samuel Rain, Nathan S. Raymond, Jeffrey Charles Raymond, Norman Lewis Robertson II, Morris Rosenstroke, Abraham Rothstein, Thomas Rothwell, Eva Salomon, Ben Satz, Joe Schneiderman, Norman Schramm, Esther B. Schwartz, Evelyn Seligman, Mary Seslin, Lois Clayman Shear, Ethel Hutkin Sherman, Abraham Slupsky, Simon S. Sohn, Francis Spiegelman, Nathan N. Stein, Marlene Grossberg Stone, Sylvia Strauss, Noni Simons, Myron Wally Waldman, Erwin Walpert, Anna Weisberg, Bessie Weitzman, Morris Wexler, Samuel Wiley, and Louis G. Zelson. We also add the names this week of those who died 4 years ago at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. We remember Joyce Feinberg, Richard Gottfried, Rose Mallinger, Jerry Rabinowitz, Cecil Rosenthal, David Rosenthal, Bernice Simon, Sylvan Simon, Daniel Stein, Melvin Wax, and Irving Younger. If any of these loved ones is yours, we invite you to rise in this moment so that we may recognize the memory of your loved one. Zichrono livracha. May their memories be a blessing. And we invite now everyone to rise as one community as we stand with our mourners and turn to page 598 for our mourners' Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hiote v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayeh d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yit adar, v'yit ale, v'yit halal, shemei d'kudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all who mourn, and to all of humanity, to which we say, Amen. And so this Shabbat, we hope that it might be a Shabbat Shalom, a Shabbat of peace. We hope that it might be an Oneg Shabbat, a joyous Shabbat. And of course, I hope you take the message of that story, even though it was a little silly, to heart. And look around and see that there are more doves, and try to be one yourself.
Hine matovu manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Matovu manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hinei matovu manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hinei matovu manayim sheverachim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.